I didn't beat Twilight Princess. I didn't beat Minish Cap. I didn't beat Majora's Mask. I didn't beat Zelda. I still haven't beaten Zelda 1 or Zelda 2. I don't have the patience for Zelda 2 to actually beat that game.
That's fair.
I still think I should probably do it just to kind of like prove to myself, right? Okay.
I don't think you can do it. I don't think you'll trim your beard, and I don't think you'll beat Zelda 2 Electric Boogaloo.
You're going to talk to me like this in front of my friends? Hey there, and welcome back to the Free Play Podcast. Once again, my name is Bubba, joined with Matt. And today, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, we are talking about the one, the only Breath of the Wild 2.
You've arrived, everyone.
Tears of the Kingdom.
I feel like we mentioned a little bit earlier on the show. It's about all I've wanted to play. It's all I wanted to listen to. I've been finding different Zelda music to listen to, just to put on. Been listening to my Zelda and chill vinyls at home because that's what hipsters do. And it's just about all we've talked about in our family, like as far as games are concerned. We've talked about other things going on, but like
no.
It's just kind of all we all wanted to play. So we ended up, I pre-ordered a copy of it a while ago at GameStop, so I got the wood plaque. Did you get a wood plaque? Yeah, wood plaque. And then in my brain, I'm like, okay, we're a two Switch household because Ezra bought his own 1 year because he was tired of sharing with everyone. So he saved his money. Ezra is the saver of the family. He saved his money for a very long time. Didn't want to buy a Switch Lite because he wanted to be able to dock it at occasion. He knows he didn't want no Diablo Switch where he couldn't dock it. He wanted a dockable Switch. Anyways, I pre-ordered it, and in my brain, I'm like, what I'm probably gonna do is just get that $99 voucher from Nintendo.
Yeah.
Get 2 games out of it. I was like, that's probably what I'm gonna do. Well, it's not what happened, okay? What ended up happening is I went and pre-ordered a second copy, physical copy of it, 5 hours before the release.
Why?
You can still pre-order. Because then I'm like, I can just then give one away when we're done with it. We won't need 2 copies. That way I'm able to I won't give away a physical copy if it's my only one. But if I have Zelda. But if I have 2 copies, I'll then like, hey, you need a game? Here you go. Did I say Breath of the Wild again? Because I almost thought I did.
I don't even know anymore.
Who knows anymore?
Yeah,
So I ended up getting 2 plaques and 2 games, and we've been passing it around. 3 of my kids are on Ezra's Switch, Ezra and 2 others. Myself and 2 of my kids are on my Switch. So trying to like make sure we all get enough time to play. And I didn't get the voucher.
I thought about vouching.
I had the opportunity to even get a collector's edition as well, for what it's worth.
We talked about this kind of off air a couple days ago. I legit am kicking myself for not getting that. And it's not because I gotta have all the.
I know. What I should have done is bought it and just kept it and sold it in a year, and then made like quadruple the amount. But that's not how I work. I buy it for myself. Nope. I open it. I don't even look at it anymore, and it just sits in the shelf, and it's not worth as much money as it was if I just had left it in its plastic. That's my fatal flaw. That's my
that's your toxic trait.
That's my toxic trait.
Yeah,
right there.
Yeah, I open things and never play them. Absolutely.
Yeah. So I wanted to do a little bit of research before we kind of like jumped into this. And when I went to GameStop, the owner, which we brought cookies to, we brought Zelda cookies to him and employees and anyone else in line who wanted them, and they loved them. They were so good. Aaron, you killed it if you're watching. He said that Tears of the Kingdom was the most pre-ordered game of all time. And he told you that. Well, he told me that.
Okay. All right.
And he would, I don't think that he meant for just his location. I think he said of all pre-ordered games.
It's a pretty definitive statement.
Right. And so I went and I did some research here, and I don't see that anywhere. What I do see is that back in March, Tears of the Kingdom was outpacing Breath of the Wild already, and that that game became the highest pre-order game, at least on the Switch. And it also is now the number one game, the number one game for the amount sold over a 3-day period, which is 10 million copies, which is bananas.
That's
I don't know what a normal game. I say normal game. I don't know what another game, like we'll say Grand Theft Auto. I assume that one probably sells a lot, or Red Dead probably sold a lot, like those Rockstar games that people all want.
Oh yeah.
I don't know how many they sold in their first 3 days, but that, to me, that seems like a lot. And it's so wild. Like a wildly successful game makes a sequel and everyone wants it. But we know that that's not always how it works. We know that sometimes, even in the Zelda series, it's just not how it worked. Like I'm thinking about Ocarina of Time to Majora's Mask. That was it was a sequel sort of, but like same animation style, like same art style, like a lot of stuff just didn't hit the same for everyone. So
did you see the article, or maybe it was an article, it was just, a IGN picture or whatever, that said that Twilight Princess was a sequel to Wind Waker?
What?
I guess you didn't see that. Yeah.
No,
I'll have to find that. I'll have to find it and send it to you. I've not played, I'm gonna be real with you, I have not played Wind Waker. I think I played like 5-ish minutes of Wind Waker. So I've definitely never beaten it, and I still have not beaten Twilight Princess. And so I would be interested to see kind of how those two mesh together. But I will tell you, I did beat Breath of the Wild. And
is that your first Zelda game beaten?
Breath of the Wild?
Yeah.
No, sir.
Oh, hey, I just have to ask these questions.
No.
That's
a good question.
Don't hate the messenger. Ask her.
I hate the game. The messenger. The first game that I beat Zelda-wise was Link to the Past on SNES Nintendo.
Yeah.
SNES Nintendo. And then the next one I beat was Ocarina of Time.
Oh, you're like old hat here.
And the next one I beat was Breath of the Wild.
So you skipped several. You skipped Link's crossbow training.
Oh, I did. Beat Link's crossbow training too.
You did? Oh, yeah. Really? I was actually just joking.
I don't know. I didn't beat Twilight Princess. I didn't beat Minish Cap. I didn't beat Majora's Mask. I didn't beat Zelda. I still haven't beaten Zelda 1 or Zelda 2. I don't have the patience for Zelda 2 to actually beat that game.
That's fair.
I still think I should probably do it just to kind of like prove to myself, right? Okay.
I don't think you can do it. I don't think you'll trim your beard, and I don't think you'll beat Zelda 2 Electric Boogaloo.
You're going to talk to me like this in front of my friends?
You've been telling me you're going to shave that beard or cut that beard down for months. Anna, are you listening?
I had the thought.
Chris, I miss you.
Hey, Chris, we love you, bud.
He's watching.
Send me those discs, okay? But I did beat Breath of the Wild, and that was the first Zelda game in a long time that just captivated me. And one of the reasons that it did that was because of all of what I would consider pretty revolutionary things for that game and its genre that it did.
Yeah.
That game taught you things. We've talked about this before. It taught you things. It taught you about like physics. It taught you about like trajectory. It taught you about wind speed. It taught you about like recipes and cooking, and just sheerly the fact that you could take a piece of raw meat and drop it on Death Mountain and it would cook it.
Just cook it right on.
Like it really taught you some things. And so in that regard, I felt like Tears of the Kingdom had a lot to live up to. How is it going to not feel like Breath of the Wild 2 Electric Boogaloo, right?
Yeah.
Which to me was kind of what some of the stuff in the expansions for Breath of the Wild felt like.
I remember talking a few months ago, and you were a little concerned that I wasn't going to live up to the hype.
It was cautiously optimistic.
Mm-hmm.
I was worried.
Yeah.
And so, but then you look at it now, and you look at some of the things. I'm going to spoil Jack because there's not like a lot that I know enough to speak on to spoil. Mm-hmm. But I do know that one of the conversations that I've been having with Caleb, my 11-year-old is like, hey man, the reason that you've been able to play this game for as long as you have, which he's been playing it an absorbent amount of time.
Do I need to check how many hours? I'm not a Nintendo friend.
I'll check for you and I'll get back to you.
Check for us.
It's probably bonkers.
Well, no schoolwork. I get it. Man, if I didn't have schoolwork, I'd be on it.
All day. He's just all day playing it. And you know what?
It's not nice outside.
That game is it's puzzles. So it's it's beautiful. It's like 75 degrees, wind's blowing outside. But it's like he's solving puzzles in that game. And he is like exploring in that game. And here's the next major evolution.
Mm-hmm.
This freaking game is teaching basic and intermediate engineering.
You're not wrong. In a way that's obtainable. Like, I know that Minecraft, you can do stuff. You can build switches, and I remember someone made a Pokemon game in Minecraft, which I just still don't understand that.
Oh yeah, that was crazy. Yeah.
But like, to me, like, I don't understand that. This is definitely an beginner to intermediate, where like you can make these contraptions, and you can see what's going to work and what's not going to work, and you know why it didn't work, which is great. It's so great.
It's blowing my mind, some of the stuff that I'm seeing other people do, like the crazy stuff that people are turning Breath of the Wild into Tony Hawk Pro Skater, and like all sorts of stuff. It's super cool to see all of the like death and like war machines that these people are creating. And then I'm sitting here and I'm watching my son, 11 years old, who is not seeking to build the biggest, craziest thing, but he's just trying to get a thing to roll.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, Dad, why can't, he had the fans on the back of it and 4 wheels on, a piece of, Hyrulean plywood. I don't know what it is. And so but he's like, Dad, why won't this move? Why won't it go forward? And I'm like, oh, and I haven't gotten as far as he's gotten in the game. So I'm like, I don't know, maybe you need an axle. And he's like, what's an axle? And so we talked about what an axle was, because he's trying to get this thing to move. Come to find out, he had the wheels attached to the plywood, but he just didn't have them attached in the right space, so they wouldn't roll. Oh. And like you can attach them like catawampus.
Yes.
And so like I was like, oh dude, this is legit.
Make it straight.
Yeah.
Don't bother.
And so we've had a lot of really good conversations about that stuff. And even legitimately speaking, like one of the first things you do in that game is you have to go up to like a really cold space. And in Breath of the Wild, we dealt with that, yada, yada, yada. But I'm like, man, this game is teaching you about regulating your body temperature in different climates. And I'm like, I think that it's fantastic. It forces you to cook. Like, it forces you to cook and to make a good recipe that's going to keep your body temperature up. And I'm like, man, this is
dubious food.
Oh, I've eaten some dubious food already.
Yes, we got to eat what's available,
Oh yeah.
Waste not, want not.
And this is an inventor's playground, this game, because it's, basically all about attaching things to make things, whether it's weapons or vehicles or whatever. Like, did you see people are attaching tiny carts to their shields?
No.
So that you can shield surf, but it has wheels, and so it doesn't damage your shield.
Oh, I did not know this. No.
Yeah.
Roll forever. Tony Hawk.
Yeah, basically a skateboard.
No, I haven't seen that one. I've seen a lot of like, just really trying to spoil here for everyone. I'm just wild inventions that have jets and fans and other types of propulsion. I saw a hover scooter today. Like, I'm really trying not to like spoil the game, because I'm not super far into the game. Like, I've not even made it to like the first like major village. I've been doing like, this is another of my toxic traits when it comes to games like Zelda. I will do everything in a region before I move on to the next region. I do as much as I can until that story, whatever I'm following, sends me to another area. So I have currently 2 little regions unlocked, and I will not go and get all the towers, because if I go and get all the towers, this is what's going to happen. I will not make my way back to the area and fully appreciate that zone as much as I will when I just go into it and look and explore. And now, not only is the map all of Hyrule like it was in Breath of the Wild, it's now the sky and the deep dark,
the down under.
The down under, yeah. That's not a knife. And so it just makes like it's so much more to explore and to look for. And I love the puzzles in Zelda games, and I love them. And I know others in the past, like maybe just didn't play a lot of games, and the puzzles, they didn't get them, they didn't want to get them, it was too much for them. But for me, I'm like, these are Zelda puzzles exactly how they're supposed to be. So I know some people will still complain about the weapon durability.
I've heard it already. Yep.
I have too. And I've even like had people like, oh, they fixed the durability. I'm like, no, they didn't fix the durability. Like, I never had an issue with the durability in Breath of the Wild, just because it forced me to learn to play better, to try different things. And that's what they want you to do. Like, they really want you to go out and like, okay, so maybe this big stick's not going to break this guy. Like, let's roll a boulder on him. And now you even have, like Bubba was saying, put wheels on your shield, or I just made a big club that shoots fire when I swing it.
Yeah, like, that thing is just sick.
Stuff like that, like where find things that won't break, then work it out. Like there are so many ways for you to play this game that what I've found in the past, and I think I've heard like Luke say this, like in, we'll say, God of War, you go and you just hack and slash. It's the same thing over and over and over, and you'll lose people. It gets boring to just continue to do like, well, I have my master sword, so I'm just gonna slice. I'm gonna jump, and I'm gonna slice. Like being able to try different weapons for different situations, and they force you to. I'm all about it.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, it's not even, hey, would you like to try? It's, you should probably hold on to you're gonna need it. You're absolutely gonna need it.
Yep. Yeah. I just picked up a stick, and now I'm gonna fuse it with a rock.
That's the thing, dude. That just explodes everything. Being able to create weapons on the fly. You don't have to level your crafting or anything like that. It's just, once you get the ability, just fuse them together.
Yeah. One of my favorite things to do is go into one of the shrines that has some obscure block that you're moving around to like connect you to a different place, or maybe you have to move it to do something else, whatever. There's a bunch of different ones. But then before I leave, taking whatever that really obscure block piece is and then fusing it to my weapon. So it's like this really weird like bricks are on my club, and I'm like, there, that's where it's at right there.
Yeah. I hadn't even thought about that.
You want the weirder the better in my book. Well, are there...
That's not even... I was going to say, that's not even speaking at all about the story.
No.
Like, we haven't talked at all about the story of this game. It drops you in. I mean, best cutscene, best like intro, everything that they learned from Breath of the Wild, they poured into the first 20 minutes of this game. And here's the thing, it demands that you know where you are and what's going on. Like if you didn't play Breath of the Wild, and I would even say like if you didn't finish Breath of the Wild, you might be a little bit confused. Okay, not a lot, but you're gonna be a little bit confused.
Nintendo put it out like that few minute long like recap, so you could watch that one. But
you could do that. But man, like the story and where it's going and what it's hearkening back to, and how it's probably tying up, you know, some loose ends from different storylines. It's so good, Matt. It's so good. Okay, not even by my own speaking or thought process, but it is so good that Nintendo, coming off of the heels of the Mario success and off the heels of the already success of Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild, now they're looking at it and publicly talking about what a Zelda movie could look like. And you know who's talking about it? The Tears of the Kingdom team. That's who's talking about it.
That makes sense. You know what else they should talk about? I'm gonna step up on my soapbox here just real fast.
Okay. Yeah, Apple box.
Zelda's 40th anniversary is fast approaching, Mr. Nintendo, and you overlooked them for their 35th anniversary. If you wouldn't mind, please give me more than a Game & Watch with a Zelda on there. Please. And Mario can have the year off. Thank you.
You can have the year off.
Hey, you have just a few seconds. I want you to tell me one thing that you think has not improved in your limited time. One thing that you think, because we mentioned like they've basically took everything that people complained about it and fixed it. Durability, I think, included.
Yeah.
Anything that you wish they would have fixed.
That they would have fixed,
or they didn't fix, and you think they should have. I know. I have one. I probably should have teed you up earlier, but
I'm going to say one that I thought I was going to say, and I'm going to tell you why I didn't say it, or why I'm taking it back.
Sure.
And I was going to say just the menus.
Oh, really?
You know, like inventory. I just thought that they could have done a little bit better. But now you can, and I don't remember if you could do this in Breath of the Wild, but now you can go and you can see the recipes of the things.
I think you could, but you had to dig for them a little bit.
Yeah, they're like easy. Right there, surface level now.
Yeah.
Okay. Dude, maybe the map.
Okay.
Yeah. So like I set a waypoint. I'd like to be able to just kind of like see it and just know.
You want like arrows on the ground?
Something. Yeah. Okay. I don't know. That's a tough one. You say yours, and I'll think a little.
Oh,
bit
you
more.
Can't pet the dogs. Still.
That's it?
Yeah, that's it for now. I mean, I'll let you know when I beat the game. But you can't pet the dogs. And people complained about not being able to pet the dogs. And if you can, I have not been able to do it yet. I tried. I found a dog at a stable, and he just didn't want to be pet.
Was that really? That was your one?
Yeah, that's my only one so far. Everything else they've improved on. I love it. I feel like they actually listened to us.
How about the fact that none of the abilities that you had in Breath of the Wild carry over? How about that?
Okay, I wonder where the Sheikah Slate went to.
Well, now you got to switch.
Well, now I have a whatever it's called. I can't remember what it's called.
I don't know. What it is. Yeah.
Parameter.
Switch.
Permanent phone. Switch.
I don't know, man. Like I'm sure as I get into it, I'm gonna be like, oh, that thing. Yeah.
Sure.
That would have been a nice quality of life upgrade, right? But as it stands right now, man, I don't know. Like, I don't want to fanboy too hard over it, but at the end of the day,
oh, I do.
It just like 9.5, 10 out of 10, 100 out of 100. You know, game of the year. If this game doesn't win game of the year, I cannot wait to play the game that wins game of the year. I can't wait. I don't know. I think this one's got it locked in, honestly, unless Stray comes out with another game.
Straight again.
Oh, man. Well, hey, please let us know what you think about Tears of the Kingdom. You like it? You don't like it? I talked to some people who didn't even beat Breath of the Wild, and were like, I don't think that Tears of the Kingdom is going to be that great. I think it's kind of one of those things that if you haven't experienced it, that's probably going to be your thought on it. But if this is your jam, it's sweet spot. I mean, it's bullseye, man. It is absolutely bullseye.
That's all I want.
I think it is the best game in its genre. This action JRPG, open world thing. I mean, I think this is new standard. I really do.
Oh, it had better be
new standard. So that's kind of where we're at on it.